Have you ever felt a story was being told just beneath the surface of every headline? A whisper behind the official statement, a shadow in the corner of a perfect photograph? This is one of those stories. A story about influence, perception, in a digital battlefield where loyalties are weaponized. If you're fascinated by the real power plays behind palace walls, you need to stay with us. This is where the narrative gets fractured and the truth becomes a mosaic we have to piece together ourselves. For the deepest dives into the unseen royal world, make sure you're part of this community. Hit subscribe, tap the like button, and if you know someone who sees the layers behind the lens, share this. It's time to pull back another curtain. This is Royal Report 24/7. Music swells slightly, then dips to a persistent, thoughtful hum. We begin with a seemingly small story, a localized tremor. In a charming corner of the UK, a small, independent gift shop beloved in its community runs its annual, lighthearted poll. Villain of the Year. It's a bit of fun, a nod to pop culture and local politics. The votes are cast, the results are in, and the winner is announced. The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. A local news outlet picks it up. It's a blip, or it should have been. Because then, according to multiple reports from digital reputation monitors and local journalists, the storm hit. The shop's social media pages, its Google reviews, even its phone lines were allegedly inundated. A wave of criticism, accusations of bullying, and one-star reviews flooded in, not from the local townsfolk, but from accounts insiders claim bearing the hallmarks of ardent, online supporter networks. The shop owner, bewildered, told reporters they felt attacked and targeted for a simple, humorous poll. They claimed the backlash was organized, vicious, and utterly disproportionate. And here is where the whispers from within the royal commentary sphere grow loud. Royal insiders, speaking to several commentators, suggest this is not an isolated incident. They posit a pattern. They claim that what we witnessed was not the spontaneous outrage of disappointed individuals, but something more calculated, a manipulation of Meghan's innocent, well-meaning fan base. The theory, as presented by these sources, is this, that certain narratives are subtly seeded, grievances are amplified, and targets are identified, not by the Duchess herself directly, but by a network close to her, rallying a powerful online army to defend her honor by any means necessary. The goal? To silence criticism, reshape public perception, and demonstrate a formidable digital power, a power that operates not from a palace office, but from the shadows of the comment section. The TO understand why this allegation, even as speculation, carries such weight. We need to rewind. We need to look at the fragile, fraying threads of Meghan and Harry's relationship with the institution they left behind. The central tension, as described by every biographer and insider from Tina Brown to Valentine Lowe, has always been about narrative control. The Sussexes felt the palace machinery failed to defend them, failed to correct false stories, and actively leaked against them. Their solution, in their Netflix series and Harry's memoir Spare, was to seize the narrative themselves, to tell their truth their way. But in doing so, according to palace veterans quoted in places like The Times and The Telegraph, they opened a new front, a permanent, global public relations war. Every interview, every podcast episode, every business deal is a salvo in that war. And in any war, you need soldiers. Meghan's fans, particularly her most devoted online supporters, are famously passionate. They see her as a modern heroine maligned by a racist, archaic institution and a complicit British press. Their mission is protective, almost righteous. The insider's claim is where that righteous protection turns tactical. It's the suggestion that this immense, emotional energy is not just organic, but can be, and allegedly is, channeled. The institution requires stability, quiet dignity, and unity. What it cannot afford, from the palace's perspective, is constant peripheral firefighting. Insiders suggest that the alleged orchestration of online campaigns is viewed behind the scenes not just as a nuisance, but as a fundamental threat to this desired stability. It's seen as an unpredictable, democratized form of aggression that the old rulebook has no answer for. How do you send a private secretary to deal with 1,000 Twitter accounts? You can't. So, the reported feeling is one of frustrated helplessness, mixed with deep resentment. Their worlds are not just separate. They are portrayed as diametrically opposed philosophies. The Villain of the Year poll, in its crude way, touched this nerve. For Meghan supporters, it was another example of the relentless, unfair bullying of their idol. For those sympathetic to Catherine and the palace, it was a harmless joke that triggered a disproportionate, ugly response, proving, in their view, a long-held point about the Sussexes' inability to tolerate any criticism. The shop became a microscopic proxy for the entire conflict, and the alleged online campaign against it was seen by royal commentators as a demonstration of power, a message that even the smallest slight would be met with overwhelming force. But who, specifically, is alleged to be pulling the strings? The ultimate question, and the one that keeps royal watchers up at night, is where does this end? If the speculation is even partially accurate, we are witnessing a new paradigm in royal famous person conflict. It's no longer just about competing press statements or authorized biographies. It's about algorithmic amplification, review bombing, and the weaponization of fandom. The small shop owner today, who is it tomorrow? A publishing house that declines a book deal? A journalist who writes a balanced but critical piece? A brand that chooses to work with another royal? The palace, bound by tradition and a desire for dignity, appears, from the outside, to have no effective counter-strategy. Their playbook is centuries old. The Sussex playbook, as described by their critics, is being written in real time on the servers of Silicon Valley. This isn't just a feud, it's a clash of eras. And hovering over all of this is the poignant, personal tragedy at the heart of the modern monarchy. A father and his son, a brother and his brother, separated by more than an ocean. Insiders close to the king say his greatest sorrow is the rift with Harry. Every alleged campaign, every explosive interview drives that wedge deeper, hardening positions. Charles, it is said, longs for a quiet reconciliation, but one on terms that protect the institution. Harry and Meghan, reports suggest, demand a reconciliation that includes a full acknowledgement of past wrongs. A public, institutional mea culpa that the crown is structurally incapable of giving. The online battles, then, are just the visible smoke from a fire that burns at the very core of the family. A complete breakdown of trust and a fundamental disagreement on what truth and justice actually look like. So, as we circle back to that little shop and the digital tempest that allegedly engulfed it, we are left with a much bigger picture. We are left with a story about power in the 21st century. Where does royal power end and influencer power begin? What is the moral responsibility of a public figure for the actions of their most fair?